Hey, Tim Sykes here with a weekend video lesson. Even though I'm stuffy and not feeling that great, I want to show you and lead by example that there are no days off if you truly want success. Whether you're an upcoming millionaire student or if you're like me and you want more millionaire students, there are no days off. So I'm specifically filming this and publishing this on a Saturday, on a holiday weekend when I know that you don't want to study, you don't want to hear from me, and that's why I'm going to make sure that you hear from me. And it doesn't matter how I feel. What matters is your potential, and I need to unlock that. So, in case you don't know, you have just, 48 hours until this holiday sale is over, where you save 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% off DVDs and newsletters. Please take advantage of it. I know that I'm pushy. I know that some people don't like that, but I'm trying to push you to good stuff. Okay? I'm like a mother who's forcing you to eat your vegetables because I want you to grow up to be strong. Even though you don't want your vegetables, I know you just want your candy because you're little spoiled kids. That analogy works. I know you don't want to study, but these guides are all created by self-made millionaires. And it's important to learn from them and me because, frankly, me and the rest of these guys have done it. And this is what you can do. Today's video is about this guy, KRS-One. I know that I talk a lot about my millionaire students and big gains, but it's also important to understand that it starts with small gains. If you look at my student NK, who just passed $100,000 in profits yesterday, look at the screenshot. Some people were asking me about this. They were confused because they said, hey, he says he locked in 100,000 in profits, but the screenshot says 1,300 in profits because he's added up cumulative 100,000 in profits in 19 months. And guess what? 863 trades, not all of them are going to be profitable. Some of them are going to be losses, but overall now he has 100,000 in profits and most of the trades are making 1,000 at a time. So while I do encourage you to dream big and aim big, and I'm always going to highlight my success and my millionaire student success, you need to take it one trade at a time. And that is why I'm highlighting this trade by KRS-One. KRS-One is now up $45. Okay? Nothing huge at all. But if you look at KRS-One's profit chart, it wasn't doing much, and now it's on a good upstreak. I understand that it's very small, but look at this. Look at the gains here. The gain mainly was here, $300 verified trade on E-Trade, $300 profit on HADV for the bounce. And it was a 20% bounce. Those of you who've been watching my video lessons know that dip buying morning panics has been working very well. HADV had a big morning spike and a big morning panic, and KRS-One bought it in here in the low ones and sold it into the afternoon ramp. More importantly than that, I want you to see how this trade happened. And I thank KRS-One so much for sharing so details because guess what? He bought it at 97 cents, 1,500 shares. And he thought that he made $484. But what it turned out is he still had 600 more shares executed. So while he took profits of $484, he didn't realize that he still had another 600 and he lost a little on that. So overall his profits were 300. And yet he executed this well because he specifically says, since these extra 600 shares were not part of my plan, I immediately sold them. That is a fantastic statement that many of you guys can learn from. You get stuck in these trades. If a trade doesn't do exactly what you want, and you say, maybe I'll give it more time, maybe I'll just hold on. Tim, what should I do? My answer is always unequivocally exit ASAP. Cut losses quickly. When in doubt, get out. And KRS-One, still made money overall, but this is what you need to learn, okay? I understand that KRS-One is only up 45 bucks and you're not going to take it that seriously, but you should because it's not just about the money, especially in the beginning. It's about creating and learning and practicing good habits. Sometimes I make mistakes too, not just when I'm sick. Sometimes I'm just a dumbass and I have a fat finger mistake. I sometimes, buy 3,000 shares and I only meant to buy, 300 shares. Maybe not that exact case, but fat finger mistakes happen. Sometimes I mean to go long and I accidentally short the stock. That's happened before. Okay? I'm not embarrassed about it. I'm human. You're human too. And sometimes with these kinds of crazy stocks, you don't realize some of your position got executed. Maybe you got a little more, maybe you got a little less, different prices. Everything is possible. But in the beginning, if you teach yourself good habits where if the stock is not doing what you want, or if you have more shares or fewer shares, or whatever the reason is that you're not comfortable, if you have work, if you have a flight, if you have school, if you're not feeling well, if your dog is pissing on the carpet and you want to stop the dog from pissing and you want to take your eye off the computer, it's okay to get out of the trade. And I need you to understand that because so many of you will just hold it and sometimes you're rewarded for holding it and then you learn the wrong lessons. I would rather you exit immediately so that you learn you're in full control. Okay? If you just let the stock ride, which I know a lot of people do, that takes away from your control. And I don't want that because if you're up $45, or if you're like NK, my student who just passed 100,000 in profits, or if you're like me who has millions of dollars in profits, control is great. Okay? And I don't want you giving that up. This is why stock trading, and specifically penny stocks, even when you're trading the craziest stocks like HADV, which is, this is an insane stock chart. This is 1 day chart where it nearly triples in the morning, then it comes down 50%, and then it bounces 50%. Okay, this is a lot of volatility. And this is why most people stay away from penny stocks because they say, oh, this is so crazy, it's so volatile, you can't control it. Yes, you can if you have the right mindset. Remember, a few years ago, KBIO was one of the biggest 1 day winners anybody has ever seen right in here. And it went from basically, it was already up from like 40 cents to like $2. Several of my top students and I were shorting this in the $2 range. But then overnight, when they announced a big new investor, it went from $2 and it was at nearly $20. Overnight, okay? And a lot of people held, a lot of short sellers got crushed. My top student, my first millionaire student, Michael Good, and I both were short pretty big into those after hours. And what did we do? We cut losses quickly and we each lost a few $1,000s and it was not the end of the world. Well, I know many people who like to just ride it and they have that Vegas gambling mentality. They lost 6 and 7 figures. And I won't stop hearing about this from people who don't understand control. And they say, this is why short selling penny stocks is so dangerous. You can lose so much. Yes, if you have the wrong mindset, if you have the wrong strategy, if you have the wrong process, if you have the wrong mentor, yes, you can lose a lot. There are people out there where guess what? You're making a little money, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a year you have these crazy supernovas. And almost every single time, these gamblers blow up and they lose 30, 40, 50, 70, 100% of their money, and they don't want to talk about it. And, they paint me as like this evil guy for wanting to talk about losses and expose this flawed mentality. So what I'm trying to say here, and granted, I'm on a lot of medicine right now, so it's not coming out as clearly as I like. But again, there's no days off, and I read this blog post and I was so inspired. Is that you have control, whether you're making $300 on the trade or whether you're making 30,000 or losing, $300 or whatever. But you can always exit the trade. You don't have to think about this like betting all your money on red or black and doubling your money and losing all your money. So KRS1, I'm proud that you went positive. I'm proud that you just had your biggest trade. I'm proud of, you sharing this with the Profitly community. But the single thing that I am the proudest of is that when you found out you had more shares that you weren't expecting, you immediately, not even questioning yourself, exited and you took that small loss and you protected your overall profit. And that is a good trading habit that everybody can learn from. This is why these guides that I point out that are 40, 50, 60, 70% off right now are not optional, because they will teach you good trading habits. And they're not, specific magical guides that are going to tell you exactly how to make millions of dollars and you just have to study them and then you'll make millions. No. Even my How to Make Millions DVD, it's learning how to practice good habits and taking it one trade at a time. And if you actually do watch my How to Make Millions DVD, you would know that the secret to making millions is 1,000 here, 500 there, 2,000, 3,000, building your account so eventually you can take bigger positions. And then you can be like my top students and I, make 10,000 in a day, 20,000, 50,000, 100 or 200,000 in a day. All of my top students and I have done that. So it's not just luck. It's not random. When it was just me, a lot of people said, oh, you're just lucky. But now that me and several other people have used the exact same strategy to become multimillionaires, and I'm very proud of that, guess what? It works. KRS-One, even though you have a long, long, long way to go, you are on the right path because you're practicing good habits. And that's what I want for all of you. And mind you, it's not always going to be that easy. Okay? KRS-One has been studying for a while, practicing 27 trades already, only winning roughly 50% of the time, and yet the good habits shone through on this trade. And this is amazing. And it's actually a good lesson that, this is the biggest profit. And you say that you have no regrets with what transpired. You should have no regrets, and you should be very proud of yourself. And I want everybody else, if you see KRS-One in the chat room, congratulate him. Because this, even though it's a small dollar profit, even though it's a very, 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 very small step in the direction of the ultimate $1 million, it is specifically a great example of great habits. And if you keep on doing habits like this, day in, day out, cutting losses quickly, exiting the trades that don't work, and being disciplined and trying to take advantage of patterns that work. This was a great dip buy on the morning panic. This could not have been executed better given the circumstances. Now, obviously, KRS-One and a lot of other people will say, hey, but there's a big mistake here. You got executed with more shares than you thought, and instead of making 484, you only made 300. And a lot of people will look at the negatives. Whether you make 484 or 300 or even 200 or 100, or even if you lose 50, 100 or 200 or 500, you have to think of this in terms of your overall life. What do you want in life? This is why I talk about my millionaire students. This is why I talk about these big goals, because you should be working towards a big goal. It does not matter one iota in the grand scheme of your life, whether you make $484 or $300 or even lose money. But what does matter is developing these good habits as soon as possible, so that as your account grows, you carry these good habits with you. And trust me, the more that you practice these good habits, the more your account will grow, and you'll be rewarded, and you will feel very inspired, and you will feel very fortunate that you have these good habits. And every now and then, guess what? You're going to slip up because you're human. Just like me, just like every other millionaire student that I have. Sometimes we make mistakes, and that's okay. You can't berate yourself over making mistakes. And I have a feeling, sadly, that if KRS-One actually lost money on this trade, let's say even lost like 50 bucks, KRS-One would be very, very pissed. Okay? Because it would be like, oh my God, I had the profit and I let it slip away. Do not worry so much about your profits and losses in the beginning. I don't know how many times I can say it where it actually matters and it actually sticks with you guys, but I know it's tough. I know that money is why you're doing this, but you have to have a long-term mindset where what can you do today that your future self will thank you for? And that is practicing good habits, studying hard, learning good habits, watching these guides, okay? Quant Trading 101, this is Matty Owens' new DVD. I actually have to watch it this weekend because I've only watched some of it and it was fascinating and I want to watch it all. So I'm still studying, I'm still learning. So please study, learn, and KRS-One, congratulations. Everybody else, please congratulate KRS-One on this post on Profitly, or if you see him in the chat room. That's today's lesson. I'm going to do another lesson tomorrow too. There are no days off if you want success. Never forget that.